So, hello everybody. It's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and we have a guest today, a good friend, and I've known Craig a long time. Craig Sommers, everybody, say hello. Craig, say hello to the Raw
Hey,
Life audience.
hello everybody.
Craig has just so much information. He's the author of a book called The Raw Food Bible. I've done interviews with him before, but we're talking about a specific thing on today's show. And Craig's been telling me about this for years, and I've just been too busy to look into it. But it's recently been brought to my attention, and I got to do something about this. So who's the first person I called? It's Craig. Craig has schooled me on this and well enough, and convinced me to get this what we're going to talk about. And I want everyone listening, if you really care about your health, you have to understand health is more than raw food. So Craig, why don't you tell everybody exactly what we're going to be talking about? And how you first heard of it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the results of this.
Well, what we're talking about is electromagnetic radiation, which is invisible and people can't sense that it's there. Even people who've told me that they were sensitive, I've done tests with them to try to find the sources in a room, and they were unable. It was back in the 1990s when I was at a lecture at Earth Save New York, where there was a woman named May Dooley, and she gave an hour-long presentation on electromagnetic radiation, and she brought out a Gauss meter, that's Gauss, to show us the electromagnetic radiation that was actually around in that room. So basically, wherever you have electricity, there is a chance for an electromagnetic field. And this electromagnetic field can be safe if it's low, and we can live in harmony with the electricity around us. We just need to know where it is, where the high fields are, and avoid those high fields at times when we're going to be in one spot. So that particular spot where you're sleeping, for instance, for many of us, it's about a third of our life. Or where you're working, maybe it's 40 hours a week. If you're in a high electromagnetic field or EMF area for that amount of time, it could be making you tired or causing different symptoms. Cancer is also on the list of symptoms that can appear from too much electromagnetic radiation.
Great. Basically, it's if anyone wants to look it up more on Google or anything, it's known as dirty electricity. Is one of the references that it's commonly known as. And as I read on this a lot, and people kept telling me, I never really was fully convinced, and I wanted to be convinced. And I don't know about people say they sell these little things you could stick to your cell phone and it help. And maybe they work, maybe they don't. But I always said that's not wise because it gives people a false sense of security that they could use their cell phone more, and it creates more of a problem. Just get rid of your cell phones, people, if you can, or just hold it in your hand away from your head, and so on. So I'm gonna put a picture up right now of this little thing that's going to change everyone's lives. I know it will. It's called a TriField Meter. I'll put a picture up on the screen right now. And this is something Craig told me about quite a while ago. And well, sometimes I'm slow to learn and quick to listen, or quick to listen and slow to learn. But I finally got one, and there weren't too many bad places in my house except when I put the TriField. When I put it, there were two things that happened, Craig. Maybe you could discuss this. One was I touched my keyboard with it, and now this is the thing I'm spending the majority of my day. I actually am on my keyboard probably more than I'm sleeping, and it shot off the charts. It just went off the charts. Can you talk about that a little and why that happens?
Yes, so our laptop computers have processors and electronics inside that create a high electromagnetic field. That's why we should never sit the laptop directly on our lap, even if you have it just 6 inches or so above your legs on a table. That is enough distance for the field to drop off. And then on the top, you should never have your hands directly on the laptop. What I recommend is a keyboard, just like this, that I always use, that plugs into the USB jack, and that type of keyboard will not create an electromagnetic field, whereas the keyboard directly on your computer is very high. So you're exposing your hands, and of course all the blood that runs through your hands and through the rest of your body, to a high electromagnetic field while you're typing. In my personal experience over many years, I can type only so long on the laptop directly. After that, my hands start to kind of ache and get tired. But when I use a keyboard, I can keep them on the keyboard and type endlessly without my hands starting to bother me.
Well, I first want to say I apologize for the quality on me and Craig are speaking over Skype, and so I apologize for the quality. It's not ideal at the moment, but I do want to say that what Craig's talking about, I personally have not experienced getting tired hands on the regular laptop, but that did not stop me from running out and getting a keyboard as soon as I measured this, because I know it's just more than just a feeling. So if you're listening right now and you could say you could type and your hands never get tired, don't think you're escaping this issue. And I went, and now I have an Apple computer, so I spent a little bit more money to get a compatible Apple keyboard right from Best Buy, and it was probably the wisest thing I bought in quite a while, except this TriField meter, which was very wise. And uh, what is that? Your cell phone?
This is the mouse. That's another thing that you need to get, a mouse on a wire.
You were
You don't
holding it
want to
like a
put
mouse, actually.
you
Yes.
don't want to put your finger on that little patch on your laptop. Try putting a pen on there or a stick or anything that's not your finger, and it won't be able to move the mouse. It'll only work. Your little electromagnetic field from your finger will move that mouse, and you're exposing your finger to a very high field by putting it on there. So simple $10 mouse will solve your problem with the
Abs-
wire.
with the wire, and folks, listen, get this stuff while they still sell it, because this stuff is going to be an antique one day, because they're getting rid of everything with wires, which is it's quite dangerous and it's quite crazy. But I the other thing was, in my house, my bathroom is connected to my living room, and we had our couch right on this wall on the other side of the bathroom, and I didn't realize this. I should have even knew this. We would go so far to shut the electricity in our house at nighttime, just knowing it would be better. But the fuse box I would go to shut the electricity is in the bathroom, right on the opposite wall of the couch. So here we are sitting on this couch, and the spot in my whole living area that was the highest was right there on that couch on the opposite side of the wall with the fuse box. So what we did was immediately we moved the couch, and we put a table there or something that we're not going to be able to sit or even be near. And I owe it all to this meter that found that out and figured that out. I mean, it shot up in that area. And there's so much more what we could talk about with their smart meters that we're getting rid of, and all these we need to get rid of, and all these things. But this TriField meter, I mean, do you have any stories other than the one I just told you, Craig, of people that had no idea there was a hotspot in their house until they got one of these?
Well, I have many stories, and I have more intense stories than yours. For instance, when I owned a health food store on Long Island, which I had you come speak at in the 1990s, there was a couple who were coming in for some counseling. The woman had breast cancer, and I gave them all kinds of nutritional research and information on things they should do to help boost their immune system, especially for the woman. And then one day they came in. I said, "Okay, now it's time for you to take this Gauss meter," and I handed them the Gauss meter. I showed them how to use it. Take it home and check your whole house, because electromagnetic radiation could be causing your cancer as well. So they went home, and I got a phone call. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was closing down the store, and they were pleading with me to come over and make sure they were using the meter correctly. So I went to the house, and everywhere in the house was a very high field. And then I got outside the house and I looked, and it was high tension power lines on the property just next to theirs. And the field from those high tension lines, I'm talking about the giant towers, not those little ones that run down every street, was penetrating their house, because electromagnetic radiation goes through everything that your home is made of, whether it's metal roof or wood or glass on your windows or cement or bricks. it penetrates through everything. You cannot block it out. There's very few materials that can block it, and they're very costly. And then if you try to shield your house, you'd have to shield all the windows too, which would be ridiculous and it would be too costly. Well, anyway, I walked down the driveway towards the street and found that the field dropped off when I got to the street. And then when I looked down the block, I saw that every house on their side of the block was backed up to high tension lines. And on the other side of the street, they were all far enough away that was a safe distance where they weren't getting exposed. So I asked them about the health of their neighbors. And you should have seen their jaws drop, both of them. And they proceeded to tell me that every person that they spoke to who lived on that side of the street, there was at least one person in every house who had some type of condition, whether it was a rare blood disease or a leukemia or something that was a major problem. And then I asked them about the health of the people on the other side of the street, and they said they talked to all those people too, and they didn't know of any of them being ill. And I had other situations like that happen as well. Several times I spoke to other women with breast cancer. One time it was a woman with crippling arthritis. What I would do is inspections of people's homes after that for many years, and I still do them on occasion. Many cities have inspectors you can call in. They're usually a few $100s, and they'll inspect your whole house. But why call in an expert for a few $100s when you can get a meter for half that?
Yeah, and one of the things I love about this meter is I just got it a couple of weeks ago, and it's like a little toy I got. Every time I go to a house now, I carry it with me, and people think I'm weird enough because of the way I eat and look and act. But here I go to this house and I take out this meter. We were at a little Bible study, and I was going around the living room, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I want to find the safest place to sit." And I believe I did find the safest place to fit in the house. And right away, everyone there wants to get one, or they want me to come to their house with it, or they want to get one. And I don't like to sell things that I haven't tested or used personally or will endorse. I got it, folks. I mean, you'll see in this video here, I have it. I love it. I think everyone should get it. I'm buying my mom one for as soon as I can, and it's just a great thing to have. I'm going to take it. Now, let me ask, do they allow me through the airlines with this? Do they allow me through the machines?
Yes, I've bought it on airplanes many times, and you'll find that airplanes have a fairly high electromagnetic field that also pulses. The closer you are to that jet engine, the higher the field. So I try to get a seat in the airplane that's further away from that jet. But it's a very high exposure, and not only are you being exposed to the electromagnetic radiation on a plane, when you go up higher, you're exposed to gamma radiation. So it's kind of like a double whammy. And I think that may be part of the reason that people get some kind of fatigue or jet lag from flying.
Absolutely.
Maybe not just time zones, but such high radiation exposure.
Yeah, I actually heard, and I don't know why, but they said, I used to hate flying night flights because I'm wiped out the next day, but they said it's actually safer to fly at nighttime. And I could think
That's
of
true.
several good reasons why, but and also to sit in the back of the plane, it's not as high because you're as far away from the cockpit as possible as well. So there's so many little things you could find out, folks. Health is more than just food, as we're finding these things out. So there's three things I could think of people could do. One is to go to an Amish farm and live with the Amish that don't have any electricity and make sure there are no wires there. Another thing somebody could do is spend a lot of time and a lot of money stressing themselves out to get every form of protection out there today. Or you could just get one of these meters and find out where the hotspots are and just try to avoid those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Paul, people should know that there is a standard for safety, and it's very, very easy to read it on this type of meter. They have a dotted red line in the safe zone. You see below 3, and it's 3 milligauss. That's small m, large g. So below 3 is considered safe, and above is not considered safe. The European standard for safety is below 2.5 milligauss. So what I tell people is basically just look at the red dotted line. You don't have to memorize a lot of numbers. It's fairly easy. Walk around, and the place you sleep really should be at 0, if at all possible. And just like Paul said, sometimes it's very easy to just rearrange the furniture. You might go into your bedroom and find that the wall where your bed is very high, and the other wall where your dresser is has nothing, and you just switch the furniture around, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. Now, I heard, I don't know if you heard of this before, but I heard linen actually protects us from EMF. Have you heard that?
What did you say?
Linen, the fabric linen.
Linen. I haven't found any fabric that can block EMF. The only material that I found that actually can block it is called mu metal, and that's Mu metal. There may be some materials that can help pull it down or ground it. And even the grounding technology, when you put your feet on a grounding pad or go outside and ground, that may take some of the field and shut it off and be a little bit better, but it still doesn't eliminate the field. If there's a field there, the field is there. You're being exposed to it. Whether you're grounded or not, sure, it's better to be grounded, but if you're not grounded or you're grounded, you're still being exposed.
Yeah, what I heard was, and the Bible says not to mix linen and wool together. So somebody did some studies, and when when the linen, there's a frequency of units of each material, and the linen was very high, and the wool was very high, but when they mixed them together, they canceled each other out, and it went to zero. And somewhere along the way, I heard that it will protect us against, I don't know if it's some or all of the EMFs, but I definitely know there's some wonderful healing things to linen. If somebody has a cut or a wound, if they wrap it in linen, it's definitely better than wrapping it in synthetic fiber. So very well, maybe this could be something to it, but definitely, again, of the best thing is to avoid it, just like we avoid unhealthy things when we eat. Avoid the hot spots, and so that's why we got this. And this is coming everywhere with me. I'm excited, and the real reason I got it was I'm into metal detecting now, and I wanted to see if my metal detector was dangerous or not. And no one knew. There's no one that talks about it, so I had to get this and figure it out. And I'm happy to know it's not extremely high, so I can enjoy my hobby. Yeah.
All right.
What else can you tell us about the cell phones and so on? Will this test those? Because I know there's a new digital frequency out now, which is a little different, right?
That's right. So that TriField meter, which I feel is the best value for its money, I see meters out there that are like $1,000 that can't even do what this meter does. And I really like the fact that it's analog. It has the old-fashioned type needle rather than a digital readout. But what this meter can do, you have a 0 to 100 range, so you can see the higher points where you're getting exposed. And then if you want to fine-tune it, you can bring it to 0 to 3, and that blows up that first part of the 0 to 100, so you can really fine-tune and see, oh, you're being exposed to a half a milligauss over here, because sometimes it might look like it's on 0 on the 0 to 100 scale, but then you bring it to 0 to 3 and you find, oh, there is a little bit there. So that's another really cool thing about this meter. And what you can do is you can put it up against your cell phone, and if you put the side of the meter on the phone when you're in a call, you can measure the electromagnetic radiation that's coming out of your cell phone. Cell phones put out two types of radiation: the electromagnetic, that is similar to what we're dealing with in our homes, and the cell phone also puts out microwave radiation, which is a very high frequency. Now, all the newer mobile phones that are out there all use what they call digital. It's a very high frequency, and you can't use the TriField meter to measure the antenna. You could only use that to measure the electromagnetic radiation coming out of the speaker and out of the electronics on the phone. However, if you take that TriField meter and you turn it all the way over to the last selection on the dial, which is radio waves, you can measure the radio waves coming out of your phone if you have a very old phone that's analog, or if you take your new phone and you go way off into the country somewhere where there's no more digital antennas. There are many places that they haven't switched over to digital yet, and they have a lot of analog antennas. And then you could actually measure the amount of microwave radiation, that high-frequency radiation coming out of the antenna on your mobile phone. But like I said, that's only way out in the country. So two types of radiation coming out of your phone. the TriField meter definitely measures the electromagnetic. It may not necessarily measure the microwave from the antenna, especially if,
We don't want people to be deceived. If they do get this and it doesn't have a high thing, you still want to keep checking. You don't want to just say, "Oh, now I could use my phone or something." Uh,
exactly right.
Great, great. Now, honestly, what I love about this the most is I'm a simple guy. I don't like all these buttons, and I looked online and they had so many expensive ones with all these bells and whistles. No, this is just you turn the switch, and I love that needle, and it's just so great. And I can't thank you enough for letting me know more about this. Now, uh, let me ask you this question before we go about hair. Hair is electricity, and we're not going to get too much into it tonight. But do you think it can attract or protect in some way? Does it block it? Have you seen any studies about that?
I haven't seen any studies about that, and I'm not really sure. I'm really excited for more studies to be done, and I really get excited when you bring up things that I haven't heard of or thought of, like linen and hair, because now I'm going to grab my meter and go do a few tests. I've tested all different types of buildings, right down to the adobe walls, to see if it would block electromagnetic radiation. You know, and I'm constantly learning and doing new tests myself. So I'm going to
Wonderful.
run out and see, see what I can find out.
Well, that's great, and let us know the results. And everyone could do these tests themselves. You don't have to wait for the results from us. You could do them. Just get one of these TriField meters. I'm putting it up here on my website. And remember, as a member of the Raw Life Health Show, you can get 10% off. And actually, I'm offering this now with free shipping. So you get free shipping and possibly 10% off. I want you to have these meters. I really care, about people's health. And this is just great. So, Craig, thank you so much. You're a great guest, and this is just wonderful. And we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you again here on the Raw Life Health Show. Everybody that's listening, put your questions and comments below, and get these meters while we still have them. So, thank you, everybody, and have a great day and a great raw life.
It's always a pleasure, Paul.
I can't stress, it's not food, you're not going to eat this, but I can't stress how important it is to find out where the hot spots are in your house and avoid them. And the best way you can do it is, I believe, with this TriField meter. And so check it out. Here's the link. And until then, the link's under the video. Have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.